Your choice potatoes, 5-pound bag, only $4.49. Fresh Purdue oven stuffer roaster at $1.99 per pound. Regular pasta sauce, 24 to 29 ounce jar, hot price $2.69. Tama spaghetti, linguine, or fettuccine pasta, 500-gram bag, hot price $1.69. Chobani Greek yogurts, 5.3 ounce tub, hot price $1.69. All stores open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Wednesday, January 23rd. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us. Healthcare spending increased by $20 million. That's according to the 2018 National Health Accounts Report. The Bermuda Health Council's report suggests our healthcare system expenditure is continuing on an upward trend. But not only are premiums costing us more per year, people are paying more out of pocket as well. A total of $20 million more was spent on the healthcare system for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2017, representing a 2.26 hike year over year. The Bermuda Health Council says this increase was expected as the island has an aging population, as well as an ongoing cost burden of managing chronic diseases. However, this year they also noted that patients are paying more for health services out of pocket, while health insurance covers less as a portion of total financing.
What we found that some providers, not most, but some, have actually just been submitting claims to insurers for simply the insured amount or the amount that they know will be paid by the insurance companies. That leaves the patient at a disadvantage because they in turn do not know the actual cost of the entire service. And us on our side, we receive claims data from the insurance companies on a monthly basis now. And that information or that true cost of the services that are provided is just not captured in the data. So we have to use other methodology to try to determine what those costs are.
It's also been suggested that patients and healthcare providers move away from the idea that expensive means better quality health care.
Health service provider fees, specifically physician fees, are not regulated. So there's no legal parameters as to how much they can charge for services. That highlights the importance of us being able to know exactly what those charges are. We often field various kinds of complaints from patients, from some saying, you know, I was charged more this month for a service that I've been receiving for the last however many long months or years, and the price is going up. And, you know, we make inquiries into that, but that's something that we want patients to be able to do more of, is question on what it is that they're receiving.
To get a more accurate picture of total spending, the Council pledges to further enforce claims regulations legislation. The Health Accounts Report is meant to provide insight into the trends of healthcare financing and spending, as well as how Bermuda's system compares to other countries. The Ministry of Health tonight moving to allay fears that the country could be in the midst of an outbreak of so-called swine flu. This after reports of at least one death from the current flu virus, which has resulted in several people having to be taken to hospital. Here's Gary Moreno with more.
It was only on Monday of this week that the Ministry of Health's Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit issued a warning to the public to take precautions against influenza due to an increase in numbers and in the severity of flu cases recorded on the island. Soon after that, there was talk that an outbreak of the so-called swine flu, which has claimed a number of lives in 2 Caribbean islands, may have now made its way to Bermuda. Sources at King Edward Hospital even expressing concern to us that a recent death at the facility may in fact have been related to the H1N1 virus, otherwise known as swine flu. Based on these claims, we reached out to the Bermuda Hospital's board for clarification on whether the swine flu had been detected on the island and whether there had been any deaths at King Edward as a result of that virus. We were, however, instructed to forward our queries to the Ministry of Health. However, a spokesperson there informed us they could not give any information on any situation which may have occurred at King Edward Hospital. In addressing the suggestion that swine flu had been detected here, though, a spokesperson for the ministry told us swine flu is a current misnomer, in that the flu circulating to the best of our knowledge is a human influenza A H1N1, just as it was in 2009. The name swine flu was used because the original source was from swine, and it caused a pandemic because it was new to the human immune system. However, after 9 years, it is no longer a novel influenza to humans, but it still can be severe. The spokesperson added, to be clear, it is passed from human to human at this time. Influenza A subtype H1N1 has been present globally and in Bermuda since 2009, and protection against it is now afforded by the flu vaccine. In addition, influenza A subtype H3N2 influenza is also quite prevalent in the region and is included in the 2018 influenza vaccine. A check on the UK's National Health Service website indicated H1N1 is now just a normal type of seasonal flu and is included in the annual flu vaccine. The virus was first identified in Mexico in April 2009 and it became known as swine flu because it is similar to flu viruses that affect pigs. It spread rapidly from country to country because it was a new type of flu virus that few young people were immune to. Overall, the outbreak wasn't as serious as originally predicted, largely because many older people were already immune to it. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
And we'll have more for you after this short break, including all the latest weather news. Stay with us.
Price Rate is your one-stop shop with something for everyone. Household goods for kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom. Aisles of bulk groceries at value prices. A complete selection of fresh meat and produce. And an extensive range of frozen items to cover every meal. Wines from around the world and beer and liquor at discount prices. Visit Price Right at our 2 locations in Pembroke and Warren. There's always something new and always something for everyone.
Meet Cal. Cal is a consumer. Just a year ago, Cal didn't know much about industry regulation or why it even mattered. Then Cal went to a town hall meeting, read the flyer sent to his house, and looked at the regulatory authority's new website. He even did some research on his own. Now he can see how regulating electricity protects consumers and ensures our power supply is safe, reliable, and sustainable. And he knows more about the regulations that improve the overall service of Bermuda's phone, internet, and cable companies. And there's more to look forward to. In 2019, the authority will share information on important matters like the cost of electricity, consumer protection regulations, and net neutrality, also known as open internet. You too can start learning today at the authority's website and stay up to date with all that we're doing on our Facebook page. For 2019, the Regulatory Authority wishes you a safe, happy, and well-informed year.
At Argus, our interest is you. Each of you. Around here, we know that when 2 people seem the same, they can have very different insurance needs. For their health, home, work, and future. Which is why we take the time to get to know you as an individual, so we can provide insurance coverage that fits your life. Because after all, our interest is you.
Thanks for staying with us. Nothing is cast in stone, so says Premier David Burt when asked about proposed new taxes contained in the pre-budget report unveiled on Monday by Finance Minister Curtis Dickinson. According to Premier Burt, who held the finance portfolio before Mr. Dickinson, the proposals are in keeping with the findings and recommendations of the Tax Reform Commission.
There was a tax reform commission that was a bipartisan tax reform commission that presented their options. All of those options have been repeated in the pre-budget report because the tax reform commission's report was to give to consideration of the government for things which they will implement. So we are sharing what those various items are. We will be having meetings to hear feedback, and I think that after that we'll go through the budget process. We have to remember this is the same process that we went through last year, where we released the pre-budget report. There was consultation, both public and also private, to find out the views of the stakeholders for what may be implemented in the budget, and we'll wait to see what the Minister of Finance has. But I think what is most important to recognize is the Tax Reform Commission was put in place to examine ways to make the tax system in Bermuda more fair. And the Tax Reform Commission recommended the reduction of some taxes, the increasing of some taxes, and the introduction of new taxes. And all of those things have to be viewed in balance, because what we want is a system that is more fair. What we want is a system that promotes the creation of jobs in Bermuda, and what we want is a system that at the end works for Bermuda.
Premier Byrd was speaking with Gary Moreno during a break in meetings at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Mr. Byrd provided some highlights of his talks with the principals of a number of international companies and what those discussions could mean for the
my country at this event. And this is the largest gathering of public and public sector and government officials and the private sector. So you have the leaders of the major countries or high-ranking ministers, and then you also have the leaders of major global businesses. Some of those global businesses that are doing business in Bermuda, others that we are looking to attract to Bermuda, those who may be interested in doing business in Bermuda, and those who may have done business in Bermuda before, and we want to possibly attract them back. So we've had a strategy out here to speak to companies that have a presence in Bermuda but may not have a physical presence in Bermuda. We've had a strategy out here to speak to companies that are already here. For instance, yesterday we met with the global head of Sampo International. Sampo has an insurance arm in Bermuda, but the discussion was from the international level, as it is a Japanese company, what are the additional things in which they keep doing to Bermuda to promote cross-border trade and promote additional investment. And that's why this is important. It is in a time when Bermuda is desperate for economic growth. We have to be the places where the money is. We have to be the places where the investors are. And we have to be the place where we can utilize the access of which we have at being at the World Economic Forum to speak to the highest levels of the CEOs of these global companies and to share with them the initiatives of which we're working on.
Premier David Byrd speaking there from Davos, Switzerland. The General Secretary of the Bermuda Union of Teachers, Mike Charles, says there will be no movement in negotiations until the government makes education a priority. Mike Sharp reports.
Mr. Charles said they have been involved with 2 public service negotiating teams, which demands talks start over again and again.
It would seem to us as a team that we've been negotiating forever. We've been negotiating since before the election. The PSNT was a group of people who were selected by the former OBA government to do negotiations for government workers.
How much more negotiating will it take?
So we've been negotiating for about 3 years. It seems like we're doing more negotiating than coming to agreements. And we are nowhere near the end of negotiations. So now we have a new chairperson in the form of Ms. Judith Hall-Bean.
The BUT General Secretary said that teachers are very frustrated with constant delays.
It's all just delays and delays, and it's getting really to the point where our members are getting sick and tired of just nothing happening. There are things that we would like to see improved, things like maternity leave and things of that sort that we would like to see improved upon. Since we can't get any substantial increase in pay, you would think that the conditions of work would be improved.
Mr. Charles said there are other sticking points, but having proposals rejected often is not the way to go.
One of the sticking points we have with negotiating with this government or this ministry is that in most cases to our proposals they just say no. They don't say no, but what they say is we'd like to continue with the present wording, which really is another way of saying no. And with no rationale. We've been asking for rationales for their decisions, and we can't be given any. We've not been given any.
Mr. Charles is keen to see if having a new commissioner in Kalmar Richards will help improve matters, but that nothing will really change until government makes education a priority.
The priority of governments, and not just this government, the priority of, and in my history in this country, I haven't seen a government that has made education their priority. And unless you do that, we're not going to improve. In countries where you find education is doing well, are countries where government see education as their priority and treat it as though it's their priority. And until that is done, we are just spinning our wheels.
And I'm Mike Sharp with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Mike. And more sunshine tomorrow, and temperatures begin to hover around the average for this time of year as we move into the later part of the week. But what's in store for us weather-wise at the weekend? Let's head over to the AccuWeather headquarters for the details.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
This AccuWeather forecast on ZBM is brought to us by the good folks at the BF&M Insurance Group. It's cool out there. One of our coolest weather patterns we've had so far this winter is what we've been dealing with over the past 12 hours. You can see that we've been dealing with a lot of these stratocumulus clouds, a result of that cool air. You can see where the recent cold front has pushed all the way down, almost to Puerto Rico. So there's a very large area with these colder clouds over our heads, including most of the western Atlantic. Here's another shot here, another image, visible satellite showing all of those low clouds and mid-level clouds, a result of that cold air crossing the relatively mild water of the western Atlantic. Temperatures are down to around 60 degrees. The humidity is holding near 60% as well. Winds are fairly light from the northeast at 5 to 10 knots. Water temperature fell another degree down to 66, so it's a little cool out there, even in the water. On the inside, we have 1 to 2 foot waves, but on the outside, waves are still around 4 to 9 feet. And because of that, a small craft warning remains in effect this evening. It'll then end later this evening, and we'll have a period of time without any marine alerts. But then the boaters will be under another small craft warning on Thursday afternoon as the next system approaches. So it is a pretty active weather pattern, and breaks in the waves will be fairly short-lived. In other words, there won't be too many prolonged periods of time in which the waves won't be all that big. We do have high tide later on tonight at 10:25, low tide 4:36 a.m., another high tide at 10:48 a.m. on your Thursday. So tonight, partly cloudy, generally dry, 57 degrees, a cool one for us. And then tomorrow, we'll be dealing with a mix of sun and clouds. It'll become breezy once again, and a few showers may occur, especially late in the day toward the evening hours. Highs will be back up around 69, so we will get milder. High pressure is temporarily in control, but it's not a pristine blue sky high pressure system. It's one that is coming with some little clouds in the sky and some stratocumulus clouds. Eventually, though, Thursday night into Friday, you can see this next system will be approaching, and this is when the rain chances dramatically increase. So there may be a few spotty showers late Thursday, but there's a much better chance for rain on Friday, and even some of that locally heavier rain may be in our forecast Friday night into Saturday morning. Not the best timing for our weekend plans. Current conditions in Jamaica look good. Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago are dealing with some scattered showers here or there. No tropical threats. Into eastern North America, it's a little milder than it was. Wet, though, into New York and Boston, where there's even a little bit of a flood threat there, tied to some melting snow upstream, upriver, and also some of those areas of widespread rain. Toronto is chilly, 30 with clouds. Atlanta, cool, 47 and breezy. Miami, scattered thunderstorms there. And in London, we're still dealing with that mix of rain and some snow. 5-day forecast, it's pretty wet. Not right now. Most of tomorrow will be okay, but the showers roll in late Thursday. Friday will be wet. Friday night will be especially wet, and showers will linger on both Saturday and Sunday, and even into Monday. We will get milder, though, a little warmer out there. We'll send it back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
This summer I was in Germany on holiday with my family, and on a whim one day my son and I joined a speed sliding competition. And as I came down the water slide, I went straight down in the pool and whacked my left foot on the bottom of the pool. And I looked down and I didn't see a foot. I just saw the bones sticking out, and I started to feel faint. I was ambulanced to a hospital where I stayed for 11 days and had surgery. I had snapped all the ligaments on both sides of my ankle. And in the middle of all this stress and pain, we thought, how are we going to deal with health insurance? How will we pay for this? And I got a response from Allison at BF&M, and she said, your admission and surgery will be covered at 100%. I didn't have to put it on a credit card and deal with the reimbursement later. It made such a big difference to us. And for me, the BF&M difference is stress-free insurance when I really needed it.
Hello. I am Diallo Rabane, Minister of Education and a parent of a student in the Bermuda public school system. The ministry and the Department of Education are hard at work providing an education system that ensures our children receive an education that prepares them to be competent, and competitive participants in the working world. We are tackling infrastructure, grading, teaching quality and resources, curriculum, and student behavior and social needs. We are leaving no stone unturned to make sure that every child receives an education they need to reach their goals. This is a process that will take time, but we are committed to seeing the process through. To reach our goals, we need support from parents, teachers, and the community. We are asking you to reach out to your school and ask how you can get involved to support our students. For more information, visit www.moed.bm.
This is a message from the government of Bermuda.
The year-end clearance sale is now on at Bermuda Motors. Cargo ships bringing our 2019 models will be arriving soon. To make room, we're offering the lowest prices of the year on these models. Ford Figo, our hatchback with cutting-edge technology. Ford EcoSport, big on comfort, safety, and power. Toyota Avenza, the perfect balance of style and function. Toyota Prius C, our fuel-efficient 5-door hybrid. So hurry, prices are available until the end of the year or while our inventory lasts at Bermuda Motors.
An unusual discovery at Devonshire Dock today. A dead juvenile pilot whale washed ashore. The bloated carcass was seen floating in the waters and it was retrieved by staff from the Bermuda Aquarium Museum and Zoo shortly after 11 a.m. According to a spokesperson, staff performed a necropsy on the male mammal and found that it did not appear to have been sick at the time of death. However, based on the fact that the teeth on its lower jaw had not yet emerged, staff determined that it must have still been nursing and therefore dependent on a mother. The mammal did, however, have a small amount of food in its stomach. The aquarium say they are looking to preserve the whale's skeleton for educational purposes. A number of post-mortem samples were taken and will be studied over the coming days. And a burglar raided an elderly couple's hotel room, stealing cash from a Pompano Beach Club room in the early hours of Sunday morning. Police are inquiring into the aggravated burglary in Southampton. The visitors involved, a 75-year-old man and his 73-year-old wife, were not hurt. It appears that an intruder described as a 6-foot-tall black male in his early to mid-20s, wearing a dark-colored hooded top, gained entry into their room, brandishing a blunt object between 3:15 and 3:20 that morning while they were sleeping. He then woke the visiting American couple staying in the room, demanded cash, and escaped with U.S. currency. Witnesses or any members of the public with information regarding this incident are encouraged to call the Criminal Investigation Department on 247-1744. Still to come, Earl Baisden will have all the latest sports news in just a few minutes.
You can count on us.
Red or white seedless grapes, hot price only $3.99 per pound. Fresh beef round stew beef, $6.99 per pound. ShopRite broccoli florets, 16-ounce bag, hot price $2.99. Kellogg's Fruit Loops, 19.4-ounce box, family size, hot price $8.49. Save $1.60 on Purex liquid laundry detergent, 50-ounce bottle, hot price $4.99. All stores open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m., Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
At the Bermuda Festival, civil rights takes center stage in January. Singer-activist Nina Simone believed an artist's responsibility is to reflect the times. Set against the framework of one of her most blistering songs, the play Nina Simone, 4 Women, gives voice to 4 women who suffered from self-hatred due to the different hues of their skin. The production includes some of Nina Simone's most popular civil rights anthems. For tickets, visit ptix or bermudafestival.org. 44th Annual Bermuda Festival.
Let's Talk is back. The TV talk show hosted by Gary Marino airs live at 8 p.m. on Mondays. Real conversations with key figures in public life, going beyond the sound bites to explore and contextualize current affairs. And there's lots to talk about: jobs, tax reform, our changing economy, education, crime, and the environment. Discussing the issues that matter in depth and with personality. A new studio, a new look, or a new season. That's Let's Talk. Live Mondays at 8 p.m. on ZBM TV9 and repeated at 7 a.m. on Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 a.m.
Sport now, and Bermuda sailors set to compete in Pan American Games qualifiers. An equestrian continues competing in Germany, and a Bermudian swimmer leads her school to victory. Earl Basin has these stories and more from the sports desk.
The 2019 Pan American Games in Lima has seen the organizing committee agree to increase sailing's athletes' quota. The quota goes from 148 competitors to 168 for the event.
It also means the number of boats taking part in the mixed two-persons NACRA 17s event has increased from 8 to 10. The Pan American Sailing Federation confirmed the qualification regatta for both the 49er and NACRA 17 mixed events will be the 2019 World Cup Series sailing event in Miami, which gets underway on Sunday, January 27th, and will run to February 3rd. Bermuda will see Cecilia and Mikey Woolman taking part in the NACRA 17 mixed class, while Ben Smith will compete in the laser men's class. Pan American Sailing Federation has also said World Sailing will use the 2019 Pan American Games as a regional qualifier for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics in men's single-handed laser and the women's single-handed laser radial. In the mixed two-persons NACRA 17s, the Pan American Games will be used as a continental qualifier for a country. The Lima 2019 Pan American Games will run in Peru's capital between July 26th and August 11th. Rayshawn Birch was back in action competing in the partner preferred Lippezeg International Horse Jumping event in Germany. On day 2, Birch will compete again in 2 classes, competing in the 1.25 meter amateur trophy medium tour in 2 phases jumping class. Birch and Columbine finished 28th, clocking a time of 53.17, but they had 4 penalty fault points. Birch and Pellegrino 51 finished 12th, competing in the 1.40 meter amateur trophy large tour in 2 phases jumping class after clocking a clear round time of 37.28. In their final home meet of the year, Madeline Moore and her Northern Colorado swimming and diving teammates sent their 5 seniors out on a high note with a 182-118 win over Idaho. Moore won the women's 100-yard backstroke and the women's 100-yard freestyle. Moore would record the win in the backstroke with a time of 58.15, and she would win the freestyle, clocking 52.81. Moore was also on the women's 200-yard medley relay team that touched the wall on a winning time of 1:46.16. And she was also part of the women's 400-yard freestyle relay team that clocked a winning time of 3:35.41. Bermudian Grant Rivers is a decathlon athlete who represents North Carolina State men's track and field. Rivers competed recently in back-to-back meets. He would compete at the Clemson Orange and Purple Elite at the Clemson Indoor Track and Field Complex. Rivers would finish 3rd in the men's high jump with a top leap of 1.96 meters or 6 foot 5 inches. Rivers would then compete in the Hokie Invitational at the Rector Field House in Virginia. Rivers would finish 18th competing in the men's long jump with a leap of 6.17 meters or 20 feet 3 inches. ZBM Sports takes a look at Kamal Levrock's Walkerville Cricket Club numbers over in Australia. Levrock has played in 7 two-day Kookaburra Sports A1 Premier Grade matches, claiming a Walkerville Club team high 17 wickets. Only one other player is in double figures in the wicket-taking department. Levrock over the 7 matches has figures of 101.2 overs, 17 maidens, 17 wickets for 349 runs. His best figures to date are 10 overs, 3 maidens, 5 for 27. Dante Levrock started for the Sligo Rovers in their first preseason match against American side Shore Sports at the Solar Park in Ireland. Sligo would win the match 11-0. Over 300 student athletes will take part this week in the 2019 Bermuda School Sports Federation All-Star Week during 3 days of sports. Volleyball, netball, and football will all take center stage. The All-Star Volleyball got underway at Warwick Academy earlier this evening with a 6 p.m. tip-off with the senior school girls in action. And then at the top of the newscast was the scheduled tip-off for the senior school boys match. At Summersfield on Friday night is where netball will be played. The netball All-Star gets underway at 6 p.m. with the primary school girls taking to the court. At 7 p.m. will be the middle school girls, and then at 8 p.m. we'll see the senior school girls in action. And then on Saturday at the National Sports Center, the football field will be invaded. 11 a.m. we'll see the kickoff of the primary school girls with a 12:30 p.m. kickoff for the primary school boys. Middle school girls will play at 2 p.m. with the middle school boys kicking off at 3:30 p.m. The senior school girls will get their match underway at 5:15 with the senior school boys kick off at 7 p.m.
I'm Earl Basden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
And that's all from us this evening. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.
Cross comes in, and it's